Hello, my project is on psychology and the diagnostic criteria, or I should say the diagnosis process focused on children. To introduce my project, I chose three genres to go along with my rhetorical rationale. My first genre is brochure to spread awareness at doctors' offices, pediatrician offices, as well as a petition to demand change with the diagnostic process, requiring longer initial diagnosis period times in the doctor's office, as well as a two-factor behavioral analysis. And my last genre was a podcast to spread awareness to a larger audience through the media. My stance on this argument is to encourage pediatricians to hold longer periods and perform more tests when assigning a child with a mental illness, because there is an increased rate of drug abuse in children, as well as misdiagnosis, which is causing some very severe side effects in pharmaceuticals. I would identify my audience as families of people with mental illness or parents of people with mental illness, as well as people with mental illness themselves. The podcast is used to educate and inform. The brochure is used to spread awareness, and the petition's purpose is to finalize change. Again, my genres, I just explained those. My first genre is a bright, colorful pamphlet, and the reason I chose this pamphlet is to grab someone's attention. So when you're waiting in a doctor's office waiting room, you have usually there's pamphlets, brochures, magazines, things to browse and look around at in the office, just to scan while you wait. And I figured a bright brochure would be a nice one for families at the doctor's office for certain reasons. Especially, it could be like a final line of defense for those families before receiving a diagnosis, so they think critically about the situation before just jumping into this behavior is wrong, instead of seeing it as a normal childhood behavior used in an adaptation to a situation or an adjustment in school. My rhetorical rationale was mainly focused on why I chose the genres and the strategies and styles I used in those genres. So with the podcast, for example, I wanted it to be very casual, very conversational, almost to humanize mental illness, so it's not such a bizarre, scary topic, because mental illness can include, addiction, abuse, trauma. So kind of just to humanize it, it would be conversational. Like I would host doctors and psychiatrists, as well as people who have experienced loss because of mental illness. So my rationale kind of explains my stylistic choices with my genre. Something I learned through this project is rhetoric. I know that sounds odd, but rhetoric has always been kind of a confusing word to me. I didn't understand what the word meant. It was just some fancy word. I kind of had a hard time defining it because it's so unique, right? So with logos, pathos, and ethos, those all kind of make sense to me. They're short words and they have a specific definition. But rhetoric or rhetoric to me was like a book, right? That's what rhetoric is. So now the assignment taught me that rhetoric kind of means the power of words, more so than a book, right? So the power of words, the power of communication would be rhetoric. How something is important because of how it is explained, or how it is portrayed, or how it is shown, shared. Future applications I will use from these lessons and knowledge that I've gained would definitely be probably forming an opinion, right? I would see bias, or I would see intent in the writing, in the rhetoric, so I can form my own opinion. I don't feel comfortable forming opinions if I don't know about anything, right? If someone just tells me something, I'm usually not going to form my own opinion on it. I'll just hear what they're saying. But if I use rhetoric to kind of allow myself to listen deeply and think critically about what's being said and who's saying it and why they're saying it, I'll form more opinions in my future. So I'll be passionate about more subjects. I would say that's my future application. In conclusion, this is my last journal in this class. I really enjoyed this class. Some parts of it were more difficult than others. For example, I didn't even know what rhetoric meant before this class, so I learned a lot, but I also struggled a lot. So I'm glad I had this learning experience. Unfortunately, my dog, Aria, at 10 years old, passed away halfway through the semester. So this is in memory of her. She was a beautiful dog. Speaking of the devil, come here. This is her little brother, Redford. So, hey, you want to say hi? You want to say hi? Here, say hi. This is her beautiful brother, Redford. All right. I enjoyed this class. Thanks for having me. Bye.